I've got my first international podcast here, which I'm extremely excited about. I captured these individuals who I've known for a couple of years off the street as they came in to see me in the gallery. So I have Gabby and I have Wolfgang Irle, and they're from Deutschland. So we'll just do it all in German. Does that sound good?
Ja,
Ja, wir können das machen.
Yeah, we can machen, yeah.
Wir können das machen.
Yeah.
wir freuen uns.
Wir freuen uns.
Yeah. No, we won't do this to you folks unless, well, for the German people who are listening to me, and they are out there, the Deutschlanders, you can, you'll have to bear through our English. So it's really interesting that we have a lot of Americans, and you and I were discussing this a little bit earlier, that don't know, and even people in Arizona and New Mexico don't know anything about their own backyard, the Southwest. Yet you've been doing this for 32 years?
32 years.
32 years. Yeah. And they've just come back from the reservation where they've been staying with artists, where they've been buying material, I'm sure.
Yeah.
They both have a wonderful website that sells Native American art, very good quality Native American art, which I looked at actually yesterday, and it's excellent stuff and well priced. So congratulations on that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
But they made a special trip down here to see me because we also have things that might work for them. But I want to just hear a little bit of how in the world did two Germans get so enthralled with Native American art that you opened an online store and you travel the West and you've met all these great friends that are artists. How does that happen? There you go.
Yeah, I think it happened on our first road trip. We were in a motorhome with a family, and we went from Grand Canyon to Monument Valley, and there were all these road stands, and I was infected by the road stands and never stopped because there were other people in the motorhome which didn't like to stop. And when we drove out of Monument Valley, the Moki Duck Way, I stopped for the view, and there was a park ranger, and I asked him where probably could be a good place to buy Indian jewelry. And he told me and looked back and told me, where you're heading? And I told him we're going to Bryce Canyon. And he told me, okay, you probably lost the best place.
Wrong way.
Wrong way.
And by the way, all my relatives are back there. Go back there.
Yeah. And so I got anyway hooked, and I think we bought our first buckle, a little 70s inlay. Chip inlay buckle.
Yeah, that's when they just first started doing that.
Yeah,
in fact, early 70s.
Yeah. That was in Santa Barbara in a thing, and we still have it.
And that started off the passion.
That started off the passion, and we came over each year and grabbed a little bit and thought we would be bankrupt, but it worked out.
So who egged on who? Was it a dual thing? Gabby, did you go, oh my God, this is crazy? Or was it the other way around? Or was it just you both?
He was the one who started.
Yeah.
And I need a little time to come in it, but now we both are really appreciated.
Yeah. That little time, how long was that little time?
2 vacations, something
a
like that.
couple of years.
When he kept adding and adding and adding.
And the first thing, I was not only interested in the jewelry, I was interested in the people who made it.
Yes.
And I thought they all live at the reservation, which is not. Some of them live at the reservation, but some of them live in Phoenix or Tucson or wherever. And I brought Gabi to Hopi because I thought I would meet some great artists. And I did. I met Sonwai, Wilma Nekvatera, and I read about her. That was in the 80s.
Yeah. Did you buy anything from her?
Not really.
Too expensive, or she didn't have anything, or both?
She had a lot. She showed me around in her studio, and I saw the view of her studio and all the things, and I thought by myself, it's just too expensive. And we met her on this trip at the Prescott Indian Art Market again. And I told her the story of how impressed I was and how nice she was to show me around, even if I didn't buy anything.
And did you buy anything this go around?
Not from her, but no, not from her. But we had a nice conversation, and we made a connection to her brother, which is a Hopi carver.
Yeah.
And on our next trip, we will meet him and probably buy an old-style Hopi doll.
Yeah, Kachina doll.
He's living in Zuni. Yeah. He's not living in
And
Hopi.
why is he doing that? Who knows?
I don't know. We didn't ask him.
Yeah.
We found a lot of Kachina doll carver living in Zuni. I don't know why.
Yeah, I mean, they both are Kachina.
Yeah, but from Hopi.
Yeah, no, and
Yeah.
they're both. I mean, when we talk about Kachina dolls, really the two areas that I consider to be,
Yeah.
legitimate, based on cultural is Zuni and Hopi. So I mean that makes sense, and also, that the Hopi lived with the Zuni different time periods, early 1800s, I think 1820 and 1840, when there was these huge droughts.
Yeah.
They actually moved up to
Yeah,
Zuni.
yeah,
I don't know
yeah.
if you knew that, but they moved
Yeah.
there and stayed,
Yeah, yeah.
with them, and some of the patterns in the pottery transferred over to the Hopi pottery at that time.
Yeah.
And so you come out in the early 70s, 74, was that about right when you came? The first time you came
No,
over?
80,
80,
87.
87, okay.
First time I was a coach. I'm still a coach. I coached the German deaf track and field team, and we had the World Games for the deaf back then. Now it's
Oh,
the
nice.
Deaf Olympics in Los Angeles.
Yeah, very cool.
And I got hooked by the Californian style of living.
Yeah.
Everything is possible. Everybody is smiling. So
Yeah. And we have
I-
sun.
I liked the surf, and,
Yeah.
and I
Oh,
I-
yeah.
yeah, and we came back the next year and started our trip from Los Angeles.
Yes.
And we did so till 89, and then we decided the drive from Los Angeles into the desert Phoenix, where the really interesting things are, is
Yes.
just too long. And now we fly mostly into Phoenix.
Yes.
One year, I think we did Albuquerque. One
Yeah.
time when our son was small, we rented a motorhome in Las Vegas and drove immediately down into the desert.
And so every year, basically, you've been coming back to the Four Corners area?
Yeah.
More or less.
Every year,
Yeah.
and some years we did it twice.
Yeah.
So we decided to go in the wintertime and probably to southern Arizona,
Yes.
which I love. We didn't do this for the last 19 years.
Yeah, because we
And
had to go.
when we drove
when
down
school is-
here through Oro Valley, we thought
Yeah.
we have to
Yeah.
go.
And now
back
you have
again.
Medicine Man Gallery to come in.
Yeah,
This
yeah.
is the reason we are
Fill
here.
your coffers of things.
Yeah, yeah.
Now, I have a question. I want to back you up. So you grow up in Germany. You're both from Germany, right?
Right.
Tell me about Karl May and some of the things that affected you. We're talking about the writer. Maybe you can talk a little bit about his writing. I know a lot of Germans have been affected by this writer who never made it to America, but
That's right.
he wrote all about
Yeah.
the West. Can you just address that? Maybe, Gabby, you want to take
Yeah,
this
he
one?
is a real well-known writer in Germany, Karl May. He wrote out this
yeah.
Winnetou books and Old Shatterhand and whatever, and they are in the movies. We have some open-air cinemas where you can go in the summertime and they play all the scenes, and they're
Theaters, yeah.
they're really good
And these are
well-known,
all
but
kind
I
of
think not here.
These are all kind of set in the 1870s
Yeah.
time frame, right?
It's the story about Old Shatterhand, which used to be a German guy. He worked for the railroad.
Yes.
Yeah.
And here comes this young, proud Apache, Winnetou,
Mm-hmm.
with his father and a German translator.
Mm-hmm.
And they told the train people that they couldn't build a train right here. And that was how it started. And to make a long story short, Winnetou and Old Shatterhand ended up to be blood brothers and fight for the good and against the evil. And I think every boy in the 60s, probably every girl in the 60s got
boys.
affected.
Yeah.
But the books were the one thing, the most important thing to me and to most of my fellows in my age were the movies.
Yes.
It was a German producer. He decided to make all these movies after World War II. The Germans want to see some nice things and nice stories. And he was looking, I think he had Lex Barker. His career in Hollywood dropped a little bit down. So he decided to go to Cinecittà in
Yeah.
Rome. And then he went to Germany, did a lot of...
This was Fess Parker?
what?
Was it Fess Parker? The guy.
Lex Parker.
Lex
Lex
Barker,
Barker, okay.
the guy who played Tarzan in the
Oh,
Hollywood movie.
okay.
Lex Barker.
Oh, yeah, okay.
The tall blonde
Yeah,
guy.
yeah. So,
And he got the role in Old Shatterhand. Then he was looking for a guy who played the Apache
Yes.
chief, and there was I think the Berlinale, the movie that's like Cannes in Germany,
mhm.
and there was a young guy sitting, and he was looking like Alain Delon. I don't know if you're familiar. He is a most famous actor in France. but he looked like Alain Delon, so he had no career in France.
Mhm,
And he went
yeah.
to Germany, and this producer asked him if he would do the chief, but he wasn't interested.
Mhm.
But his manager, a wife, she told him, you know, Karl May is a big thing in Germany. You better should do this
Right.
thing. And his career went up. He was the hero of, I think, 2 generations, maybe 3 generations.
And he was French?
He was French, yeah.
So you had Karl May, who never went to America, writing about the Apaches
Right.
in the time frame in the 1870s,
Yeah.
with a American that played Tarzan being the main
Mm-hmm.
Anglo character, and the French guy being the Apache.
Yeah,
I love
and probably in these movies I got the first time infected with Native American jewelry,
Yeah.
because they had all these costumes and
Yes.
they were really close. The Indian chief, the Apache, had more the costumes of the Sioux back
Yes.
up north, but Old Shatterhand, he had a brown leather costume, and he brought in from his collection, I think from his grandfather, an old concho belt.
Mm.
So this was the first time I saw a concho belt.
And you were how old at that time?
I even couldn't go to the movies. I was too young. I was probably 8 years old.
Uh-huh. And what year would have this been?
That was in the 65.
And that's kind
67.
of when these movies were
Yeah.
starting to come out?
Right.
But the books had been in print since the, what, 1910?
20s.
20s, yeah.
Yeah.
And they'd always been a big hit, right?
They have always been a big hit, but I started to read these books and I found them not too impressive.
Yeah.
I read a couple of them, especially the Winnetou 1, 2, 3, and Old Shatterhand.
Yeah.
But I think the movies were the far bigger thing back then.
And were the books required reading in school? I'd heard that from someone.
Sometimes, but
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
not in our
No.
school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. But you weren't quite as affected by the Karl May.
Just a little over the movies.
Yes.
Yeah. We have the books at home,
Yes.
but the movies are more impressive with all this
Yes.
scenery. It's really great.
Yeah, it brought the West out. And a
Yeah,
lot of this was
right.
probably filmed in Arizona, I would imagine.
The movie?
Movies.
No,
No.
They
they
were
filmed
also.
it in Yugoslavia.
Where is that?
Yugoslavia,
Yeah. Where is that?
Croatia,
Europe.
Oh, yeah.
Croatia, Europe.
I'm an
yeah.
American. What do you
Yeah.
expect?
And they did for one
Is that near Santa Fe?
movie. They filmed a rider
Yeah.
riding across the, beneath the Grand Canyon,
Yes.
and the whole story was filmed in Yugoslavia.
Yes.
And they put this scene just in to make an impression of the Grand Canyon.
And was it just the actual scene of the Grand Canyon that they
Yeah,
dubbed
yeah.
into it?
Yeah.
Yeah, they
Oh
put
my
they
God.
put a stuntman into the costume of Old Shatterhand,
Yeah.
and he rode beneath the Grand Canyon, and they put this scene in.
Yeah. Yet that was affecting people. I mean,
Yeah.
it was definitely affecting
Yeah.
Germans, right?
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
you
Oh,
even,
yeah.
and so how does that go on still today? Is that have any legs in today's society? Do the kids today know
No.
of this Karl May or any of the movies or any of that? Or is it?
I think they know the movies, but because of all this technical possibilities,
Yes.
they know more about the U.S. or what is the scenery here than we did.
Right, I'm
Because
sure.
We had no other thing than to look at these movies.
So for them, was it more almost kids today, is it almost more like a tongue-in-cheek kind of, kitschy thing versus?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But for you guys, it wasn't. This was.
No, it wasn't. I was dreaming of riding side by side with Old Shatterhand
Yeah.
and Winnetou over the open spaces.
And then, but that really wasn't even what really caught you, was it? It was more the Gunsmoke and Bonanza and that kind of thing, or some of the other TV programs, American TV
I
programs?
think I was infected by Bonanza. That was the first thing. We always looked Bonanza on Sundays, and
Yeah,
then
I remember watching it with my parents on
all the kids played the scenes on Monday and Tuesday. And
Ah.
everybody wanted to be a Little Joe. Nobody wanted to be Hoss.
All the kids I knew were Haas. Every single one of them were really Haas. I mean, I grew up in a ranching community, so, we didn't play them out because they were doing it. They were actually doing it in the morning. They were doing all that stuff. And so those did affect you, though.
Yeah, later on I watched High Chaparral,
Yeah,
which
I
was
remember.
filmed right here in Tucson.
Yeah.
And was not supposed to look at because it started at 9 p.m. and I had to go to school, and I always slept at my grandparents' house, so I could watch it.
Right, just so you could watch it.
Yeah.
So you knew you were infected with the West. There was something about the West that,
Yeah.
and what was that something that said, this is
It's
more
so
than
different.
just,
You know-
It's totally different.
yeah?
What me infected, I found back as a boy, I found it really cool that the cowboys could ride in their cowboy boots through rivers, never getting wet feet.
Yeah.
And I always wanted to have these kind of cowboy boots.
Right. They get wet.
I know. But that was, yeah.
You pictured yourself as one of those cowboys
Right,
on the West.
definitely.
And so,
Still.
and he still does, right?
Yeah.
So now,
Wannabe cowboy.
yeah, you're a wannabe cowboy. You know what we call that in the West? There's a name for when I grew up. It's called a Rexall Ranger. So it's a cowboy that's a drugstore cowboy that has
Okay.
the boots and
Yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
and the hat,
Yeah.
but doesn't have a truck, doesn't know how to rope, doesn't know the back end of a cow or a steer,
yeah.
and so you know that's what you would have been classified at that time. But now you've really grown to know, both of you, a lot about the culture, which is very interesting. But I want to take it from, so you grow up as a kid, you're really interested in Native American art, you've seen all the movies, you watch it, you stay up later than you should to see High Chaparral. And how did that translate to, say, high school and then to college and after that? Was that passion driving you still at that time?
Not really. I was when I got the possibility to go to Los Angeles for the sport event.
Yes.
I was not really crazy about that. I thought, okay, it's a nice trip, and I got really infected with the American way of life, especially in California. So I wanted to go back. And once we did this trip with a mobile home, the typical trip, Los Angeles, San Diego, Joshua Tree, I think before we were at Yosemite,
Yeah.
Joshua Tree, Grand Canyon, I grabbed a copy of the Arizona Highways magazine. And then we made a description, and
Oh,
we always
yes.
got the Arizona Highways magazine and planned our next trip for the next year with that magazine.
Using that. You hear that, Arizona Highways out there? This sounds like a plug. This could be the podcast that you need to be advertising on. But you did, so you used
We did,
Arizona
yeah.
Highways.
We
Yeah.
still have a
We
bunch
still have
of
a
that
bunch
at home.
in the sealer,
Yeah,
and
very
we
interesting.
still look at the magazines. And,
Well, Shanto Begay, who is one of my artists, who you may
We
have-
know him.
Yeah.
we know him very well.
Yeah, yeah. was on
He
the
made
cover.
some scratches with his board for our
Yes, he's
son.
fantastic with that.
Yeah,
He's- yeah,
yes.
yeah.
And he was on a podcast earlier, so you can listen to him. You're on the same
Wonderful.
podcast. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you take these trips, and then at some point, it's the one that goes to Monument Valley that flips you over, and you go, oh, there's more to just California, but there's also, again, this Western aesthetic and Native Americans. Is that true?
Exactly. We arrived in Monument Valley, and back then in 1987, there was just the View campground. A primitive. They had a shower, one
Yeah, a
shower,
shower.
and that's it. And there was just one stable. I remember the name of the guy, Ed Black. He was a cool American guy, looking a little bit like Winnetou back in Karl May.
Yeah.
And my mother-in-law was with us, and they didn't ride too much, and they put us on these Mustangs, and this instruction was, anybody who ridden before? No. Okay, that's the trick. You want to go left, you pull left. You
Yeah.
want to go right, you pull right.
Yeah.
You want to stop, just pull backwards.
Right.
And there we go into Monument Valley. And
Yeah, on horses.
On horses in a
horses.
full gallop, and
Yeah. And had you ridden horses?
I had before, yeah.
And you
I-
were with it? Oh,
Yeah.
And that,
That
what?
was. I'm only a vacation rider,
Yeah. Were you?
but it's great.
Yeah, that has to be an amazing way to see
Yeah.
Monument Valley for
It
the
is.
first time.
Yeah,
Around the view, it's
Yeah.
very nice.
Oh, it's unbelievable.
it is.
And so, after that trip, how did that affect you? Were you thinking, I've got to collect more, or I want to start collecting some of the things that are being made here?
We were not collecting. We just bought a buckle here or a bowler
Yeah.
tie or something. Not really collecting, but I was sure I wanted to come back to Monument Valley
Yeah, I'm sure.
and to see all these places. And later on, we saw that on there are places on the reservation which look pretty much like Monument Valley,
Yeah,
but
with no
there is
people.
nobody
That's right.
out
Yeah.
there.
Those are
And these
wonderful.
are the great places we
Yeah.
like today.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I see. Yeah, there are places that look like Sedona, but with no
That's
people.
right. Yeah.
If you go from Lukachukai, I just
Yeah.
had the T-shirt. Vernon Heskey lives at Lukachukai, and
Yeah,
he drove
great
us.
jeweler, Navajo jeweler.
Yeah, he drove us up with his mother's truck back then. He was not that famous back then.
Yeah.
He drove us
He
up.
used to come over here and sell me jewelry back in the day.
Yeah, he drove us with his truck up the mountains
Chaska
and
Mountains.
Yeah.
look at Chaska Mountains, and we had the view over the Four Corners area, saw Shiprock.
Gorgeous, yeah.
And on the truck of his mother, on the back of his truck, he showed us his newest inventory.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
we liked it all. We could afford. We had not so much cash. We bought a little storyteller bracelet
Yeah.
for Gabi,
Yeah.
and I liked
Still have that?
Yeah.
Good.
a Karl
Buckle?
bolo tie.
Yeah.
And he told us he never would do this thing again because it took him so much time. Back then, he did very tiny inlay
Yeah, I've
things.
seen those pieces. I've had those pieces.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
they're exquisite.
so I told him I have a credit card, but you won't take the credit card. And he told me, just take it with you and send me the money.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we did.
That's
did.
kind of a Western thing to something,
Yeah,
that we
yeah.
do those kind of things. We
Yeah.
have great trusting people.
Yeah, yeah.
And so what year would that have been that you were visiting with Vernon?
This was in 1999,
Okay.
and in we had a truck because our mobile home because
Yeah.
our son was just 2 years,
Yeah.
and he invited us for a home dance
Mhm.
right at Lukachukai.
Mhm.
And it was really I was blown away, and I thought all the things I saw in the movies they could come ahead like these things I saw real. So
Yeah.
it was amazing.
And how did that translate? So you see it in the flesh and really what it is, and to what you had seen as a kid. Did it kind of destroy all those earlier ideas, or did it somehow meld into where it really just kind of all worked?
I think it was the idea or the ideal of a cowboy, thinking as a cowboy. Back I always wear my cowboy boots back home.
Mm-hmm.
And people who don't know me,
Good branding.
I wear my buckle and my Wrangler jeans.
And when you
So-
do that, do you stand out? Do people go, "Oh, you're American"?
Sometimes,
Yeah.
yeah, sometimes. And the closer friends, they know me, but which road was I? I lost the.
Yeah. So, but
The
you
track.
you wear your cowboy boots and your other things when
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
in
The combination between now and
Then.
the things you have seen as a child. I think the thing which is still the same are these open spaces. Not many people. This wonderful
Right.
nature. This is what was always in the movies,
Right.
and we see it right now. But the other things, this is more.
No, most
Disney.
movies back then, especially the Native Americans, didn't play that big role. They were always
Yeah, it was always the
losers.
cowboys, right?
Yeah, it
and
always
now all of a
cowboys,
sudden
yeah,
it
yeah.
flipped in your
And-
mind,
yeah,
and you
and-
go,
and-
"It's the cowboys are actually the Indians."
And,
Yeah.
and we learned that the Navajos and the Apache, they have pretty good cowboys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
So-
Yeah,
the
we
Indian
were on,
rodeos
on
are
that
great.
Yeah.
this trip. We saw the wild thing in Gallup,
Yeah.
the all bull
Indian,
riding
yeah.
event.
Yeah.
That
Is
was
that the first
something.
time you've seen that?
No.
Yeah.
The wild thing, but we
Yeah.
saw a lot of rodeos.
You've
last
seen
The
them.
intertribal, usually we see the all Indian rodeos,
Right.
which includes everything. But this wild thing has only the bull riding.
Yeah. Ever want to get on one of those horses or a bull?
Not really, no.
Yeah,
I know
smart.
my
Me neither. We had actually rodeo in high school when I grew up.
Mhm.
It was an event.
Really?
Oh yeah. Those were the toughest kids.
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't the football players. It was the guys who could get on a bull or a
Yeah.
bucking bronco. Those are the
Yeah.
guys that were quiet and silent and very tough.
a lot of our friends, especially this year, we met again Sosie Taylor. He's
Yeah.
the brother of Herbert Taylor
Yes,
and
yeah.
Robert Taylor
From Flagstaff.
from Flagstaff, and we know them for more than 20 years. And,
Mhm.
and he used to be a runner like me,
Mhm.
distance runner. He is a coach like me.
Mm.
So we have a lot of in common. He did a lot of beautiful things for us and for the family. And just on this trip, he mentioned that he did bull riding too. So,
Mm.
And he was still a runner. I bet his coach was not very happy with that.
Yeah, I'm sure he was not at all.
He didn't know it.
He didn't know it, no.
So at some point, you came to the realization, you're collectors,
Yeah.
that, hey, I can become a dealer too, or I can sell. Did that occur to you, or?
No. We had so many things bought, and we had so many really, really great events, meeting people.
Yeah.
And,
Mhm.
and
Wonderful
on
people.
every piece we have, there's a story.
Yeah.
And we thought we better put it in order for our son, because he traveled 20 years with us.
Yeah.
He spent probably nearly 2 years in the Southwest.
And he's 20 now, right?
He's 20 now.
20.
Yeah.
And he met all these artists. He met Vernon Heskey. He's a friend of Sosie Taylor. He knows Bill Malone from Hubble.
Mm-hmm.
And
Roy Tellerhafter.
Roy Tellerhafter
I saw
wa-
him growing up.
yeah,
And does
yeah.
he wear Native American jewelry?
Not really.
Yeah.
He wears his boots sometimes when he is out here, but not at
And
home.
he's
It's
in
not
Deutschland, he's in Germany still?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you think he's going to turn into you as he gets a little older and goes, hey, this is really cool?
He knows what we have, and he really appreciates the time in the U.S. and meeting all these wonderful people, the friends we have over the years,
Mhm.
and even if he's not wearing it, he loves it.
Yeah, he has,
And
he has it.
he
He has
when he's
knowledge.
with us, he picks the pieces with us. So
Yeah.
he picked a lot of the pieces, and he has a good taste. He
And they'll
was-
end up to him at some point, probably. The
Yeah,
ones
that-
that are personal pieces.
That's why we thought we have to bring it in order, and the thing was to do maybe a internet gallery when I'm retired in about 3 years.
Yeah.
But we talked about 2-3 young guys who would be able to do all the computer stuff for
Yes.
us, and they wanted to know a knack of it, what we would sell.
Yeah.
So we invited them to our home, and they told their wives back then, we will almost be there 1 hour.
Mm-hmm.
So they arrived at 5 p.m. and they stayed after midnight because they saw all the pieces, and we told them stories, and they were really, really hooked.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, that was something. Then they tried to build up the gallery, and they tried to build what they thought an Indian logo.
Yeah.
And I told them that wouldn't work because our customers mostly, they are into it, and they see if these are real logos or if this is
Right.
some Indian stuff logo. So
Right.
I showed them a buckle which was built like a Bogart,
Yes.
and they took this and made the logo. For
Yeah,
us.
okay, yeah. And then your website, I think, has Monument Valley in the background.
Yeah, in
if
the
I
back.
remember.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wonder where that came from. That trip, that very first trip
Yeah,
on
you
horseback.
know, we are thinking to do a different background,
Yeah.
and because we saw a lot of other.
You've
good,
seen a
good
lot
places.
of beautiful things. So are most your clients in Germany?
No.
Or are they in the States? Or where are they? Where would most of your clients be
we,
located?
we had the website out
Yeah.
and preparing the next trip, and the collectors found us, and we weren't ready to. We had no PayPal, nothing
Yeah,
to pay.
right.
But the collectors, they wanted to have this particular thing, and they told us, okay, we send you the money and you ship us our thing.
Right.
And
And-
the customers from the U.S.,
Yes.
especially around the area
Right.
in the Southwest.
We have a lot of customers from the Southwest,
Yeah,
from
so-
Denver, and
Right. So you buy the stuff here, take it to Germany,
Yeah.
then they
That's the
find
way it
you,
is.
and then it comes back
Yeah.
there.
yeah.
And has you found an audience in Europe or in Germany specifically at all for your material yet?
There are a few. We have friends which are really in this Indian art,
Mhm.
but most of our customers are really from Japan or from the Southwest or all over America.
And have you considered trying to tap into your backyard, the German market, somehow?
We have thought about that. You have to do a lot of education. Most
Yeah.
Germans, when they think about right now, we have, because it's a time problem, we just put in our Native American jewelry.
Mm-hmm.
We have something ready for kachinas, for rugs, for,
Mhm.
for
Fetishes,
Fetishes.
pottery.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
but we have not the time. We both work.
Mm-hmm.
This is just a part-time thing and more a hobby.
Right.
Yeah.
Sharing the passion with other people.
And I think
Mhm.
it takes a long
Yeah,
time.
I'm with you.
It takes a long time to educate German people. We once made a kind of a Christmas market in a big building,
In
government
Cologne.
building in Cologne,
Mm-hmm.
and the most stands were from South America.
Mhm.
And these things were about, we were talking about $50 or $100. And
Right.
then we had a room there, and the people came into our room and they picked up these, thought they were heavy, and then they looked at the price,
Yeah.
shied away. So I think when it comes to Indian jewelry, most of the German people, they think about that Route 66 stuff.
Yeah, or they're back in the Karl May
Yeah,
kind of
yeah,
thing,
yeah. Yeah.
going, you
Yeah.
know, where's
Yeah,
the beadwork?
yeah.
Yeah, this airport stuff, which are really cheap and not
Yeah.
the things we have. With
Yeah, no, you have real Native American material from real Native Americans that
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
So, so that market is still closed, really. It hasn't found its niche other than America, Japan to some extent. And
Yeah.
what other countries would you say have been interested?
I've had
one guy
customer.
of Italy.
Italy,
Yeah.
But these are people who have been here.
Yeah.
And they really like the
they got it.
artwork, and
Yeah.
they found us by the names
Yes,
of the artists,
Yes.
or by looking for certain stones.
yes.
This is the reason also we called our gallery Sacred Stone Gallery, because this is the turquoise is the holy stone.
Yes.
And this is the main thing for us, to sell the real stuff, not junk. We really looking for high quality,
And your
this is
area is
important.
mainly more new material from the artists versus old material.
You mean our gallery?
So the things that you collect and the
Yeah.
things you sell are
Yeah.
more contemporary, more from living artists
Yeah,
than not
yeah.
so much the old
Yeah.
more, yes.
pawn kind of stuff, which we do more
I'm
of.
right now in the mood that I see that a lot of old collections come back to the market.
Mm-hmm.
And when it comes to good turquoise, natural stones,
Yes.
you better go with the old stuff.
Yeah, no, it's really true. If you look at especially in the 70s, some
Yeah.
of the jewelry may not be as good as you want because it was
Yeah.
a huge, I mean, in the late 60s, 70s, Native American material, Indian jewelry was just crazy. Everybody wanted it. Everybody was making it. And so sometimes the silversmith stuff was not as good, but the mines that were opening up at that time were great. Some of
Yeah.
the greatest
Yeah.
turquoise mines like
Yeah.
Lander and things
Yeah,
like that.
Yeah,
So often we'll find these wonderful stones that get repurposed for other things. A lot of the silversmiths come and do that, or they come out to Tucson for the Gem
Yeah.
and Mineral Show, which you might find also interesting.
Mhm.
Come out in
Yeah,
February when there's, everybody, all the Navajos are coming off the mesas to go and
Yeah.
look for good turquoise.
Yeah,
Uh,
which they need.
they do
Sure.
need, yeah.
Yeah,
And that's what you want. You want real quality.
that's
You
right.
know, turquoise, not things that have been hopefully stabilized or that kind of
Yeah.
thing, but more
Yeah.
natural stones.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
that's- So where do you go from here? What's the next step? I mean, it sounds like you need to have your gallery in the United States of America and retire from Germany at some point.
Yeah,
and just
the
come
only
over.
thing we back then when I was young, she was young also. I was ready
I
to
was
to,
younger.
to, to
Yeah,
go.
thank you.
I was ready to go and to try my luck here.
Yes.
But Gabi was not ready because of family roots and
Yeah, sure.
ties. And looking back, I think if I would have to make a living here
Mm,
when I was younger, I wouldn't have the time to do all these travels.
yeah, that's true.
We are talking about 32 years, probably being at least 4 weeks a year, some years more, here in the country, just traveling the Southwest, Arizona, New Mexico, a little bit of Colorado, a little bit. We made it one time. We made it up to Vail, Colorado, and thought that's it. We have to go down
Yeah.
immediately
Yeah.
to Taos.
Yeah, no, it's different, very
Yeah.
different.
Yeah.
That's
But
different.
that you can do that because you get paid vacation and that kind of
yeah.
from in
We
Germany.
have 30
Yeah.
days of vacation
Yeah,
every
yeah.
year, and
So it
We
actually
spent them
allowed
over
you
here.
to investigate and to develop those tastes and the love for Native American because you got the 4 to 5 weeks off that you could do it.
Yeah.
And you're right, it's hard to get time off, unless you just say, well, I think I'll just open a gallery, and then you do it 24/7. And everywhere you go is just
Yeah,
considered to be, part of the job.
Yeah.
I have to go up to, chin lead as part of the job.
I think the reason that our customers mostly come up out of the U.S. is that they don't have the time
Yeah,
to go into the reservation, to spend that time,
Yeah.
to look carefully, and maybe this is the reason they look at the internet for good
Yeah.
jewelry and found out there.
And some American people are really afraid to go into the reservation.
Isn't that
That's the
funny,
time.
right?
Yeah.
I
It
see
is.
this all the time. They go
Yeah.
like, "Oh, is that?" And I'm like,
we
"They're the
spent-
nicest people ever."
We had never a bad time, never a bad experience
Yeah.
so far. And
No, I mean, it's like anywhere. You can have a bad experience because
Right,
you get a
right.
bad egg. But
Yeah, yeah.
I actually find, especially going up to any of the pueblos, and I grew up in New Mexico,
Mhm.
they're the most accommodating, as long as you're, don't do stupid things and do things that you shouldn't if it's during a feast day or something like
Yeah,
that.
a lot
or
of,
you're
have
lot
to
of
be
taking-
respectful.
You
yeah,
have
just
to
be respectful to the
Yeah.
land and the people,
That's
which is
right.
a given anywhere anyway.
That's
But
right.
to me, some of my Navajo friends have the best sense of humor
Right.
on the planet.
Yeah,
Right.
And
that's great.
yeah, right.
Yeah.
And so that's been probably one of the best parts of this journey for you is getting to know the people, right?
Right. Especially on this trip, the last 20 years we were traveling with our son, and the last probably 8 years we had always a friend or girlfriend with us.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to make it even that you look at the trading post and meet the artists
Mhm.
and entertain the kids.
Yeah. And this time you
This
don't have
time
the
we were
kid,
free.
so you just get to
We
travel and
spend
see things.
most
We
of
put
the time in the
in about 3
reservation.
weeks,
Yeah.
3 weeks, 3,500 miles on the clock.
Wow.
Just traveling, crisscrossing the reservation, and yeah.
What's the most interesting place you saw on this trip, would you say?
We
We-
met well-known painter Reuben Richards. He is living close to Kayenta
Uh-huh.
in the middle of nowhere, and he invited us to his home
Yeah?
right now, and we are always camping out, tenting out.
Yeah.
Right now we are sleeping in the car, and he drove with us the whole day over dirt roads back behind Monument Valley.
Yeah.
It was wonderful to see Monument Valley without people.
Yes. At a
And
different,
in the evening at the sunset, we hiked up on a little mountain behind his place,
Mhm.
and to see the moon and the Monument Valley buttes.
From a different angle.
Yeah.
Carrizo
This was-
Mountains,
Yeah.
Cheska Mountains,
Yeah.
and then he started.
Navajo Mountain, yeah,
He
it
started
was
to
great.
sing
Yeah.
a prayer song
Oh,
just
wow.
for the
Impressive.
mountains,
Yeah.
and it was a long song, and he just sang it for the mountains and for view and the earth and the sky
Right.
and for friends.
Right. Yeah. That's better than any Gunsmoke Bonanza.
Right.
That's
or
right.
Anything.
The real
yeah.
thing.
It's the real deal,
Yeah.
right?
It's a real deal. Yeah.
Yeah, that's special. And that's, those are the kind of things that people can experience if they'll put in the effort and energy. Native American, the Navajo, Hopi, all these pueblos, they will welcome you into their culture if you will spend the effort and time. And it sounds
Right.
like that's exactly what they've done with you guys.
Yeah, I think we
Yeah.
had the time this time
Yeah.
without kids, and the best we were asking us what was the best thing we saw on this trip.
Mm-hmm.
I think the best thing was the time, and we had conversations with Roy Talaftawa, with Cody Hunter.
Mm-hmm.
He told us about the problems his son had. A cow stepped on the foot and it got infected, and he was really worried. And we spent just a long time at Thunderbird Lodge and talking. And Aaron Anderson from Gallup,
Mm-hmm.
he brought us a little bit behind. I shouldn't tell too much behind the scene what's going on in Gallup with the trader families
Mm-hmm.
and the Native Americans. So
Mhm.
it was very open, very moving,
Mhm.
very touching.
Yeah.
Mary and Susie Taylor, we
Yeah.
met in the Oak Creek Canyon.
Mm-hmm.
This was also great.
Yeah, just spending time with them in Indian Garden and talking about family.
Yeah.
Shippy Crazy Horse.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we went to
Visited
Chippy
it.
Crazy Horse.
Cochiti Pueblo.
Yeah, at Cochiti, yeah. Yeah, he's a great silversmith, isn't he?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
With a great humor. You're
Yeah,
talking
yeah.
about humor.
Yeah, I
yes.
know. And Cochiti's a beautiful place, too.
It is.
Mhm.
It's an amazing place and so many, people drive by it going from Albuquerque to Santa Fe and they don't even realize you got,
Right.
Yeah, all
some
the
wonderful,
pueblos.
there's killer pueblos, San Domingo
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Cochiti and San Felipe and Isleta and, just, Isletta's before, but, there's some amazing places to go visit if you just take the time and energy and effort
Yeah.
to get out there. You never know, you might become a dealer in this material too if you get hooked.
Yeah.
Anything else you guys want to share about what you do or your lives that you think would be interesting?
I think it's like anywhere else. You have to be open-minded to take your time. Then you will have really great impressions and the chance to get some more about the history, the wonderful people here, and all this, what us get hooked. So we really love it. And looking forward to come back, because on Sunday we have to fly back.
To Deutschland.
Yeah.
Is that a bummer when you go back? Is it kind of like almost, God, I'm back in a different world, a different environment?
It was, especially in the first years, because I always thought I never come back. I never will come back. And we managed, however, to come back every year, and we are really thankful for that.
Yeah.
And we are always, when I'm back, I'm appreciate the things we bought and the things we saw, and preparing the next trip. But it's mostly with our sports, we saw a lot of the world. But this place here, I'm reading, talking from the Southwest, is very, very special. And I think never ever on the world we saw such a brew of beautiful country, very different country, mountains. Today we started at the White Mountains and drove down into the desert, and it was just like a movie.
Yeah, no, it's completely different, right?
Yeah.
And just as special.
Yeah. And then the different people you meet. We have Anglo-American friends here.
Yep.
We have Native American friends from different tribes, different pueblos.
Yep.
And it's just amazing. The food is great.
Yeah. So 2 minutes away from here is a national park that has some of the greatest hiking in the world. 2 minutes. Sabina Canyon.
Yeah. We've been there many times.
Yeah. I mean,
Last time, we went up to Seven Falls.
Oh yeah, wonderful. That's a nice hike.
Saw our first Gila monster there, and the first rattlesnake on the restrooms.
That's
right.
They're wonderful.
It is.
You're lucky to see a Gila monster. Those are rare. You know.
Yeah. We just drove by when we came down Araipa Canyon. We hiked it twice, I think, but from the other side.
Yeah.
From the Safford side.
And it's amazing, you come all the way from Germany, but you probably know more about New Mexico, Arizona than most of the people that live here.
Yeah, that's what we are feeling.
Yeah.
We're talking with the people. We talked to a lady in Gallup, and she told us we've never been down in Zuni, and it's a 30-minute drive.
She's Navajo. She sells the things at Parinals and
Never
went to Zuni.
But maybe that's the way it is. We are also not spending too much time in Germany, but I think we know it's a little bit better than some people here in the Southwest.
Yeah, it is. Well, thank you so much for Gabby and Wolfgang for coming on to the podcast. I find it, first of all, I just want to thank you for being so interested in the Southwest. I think it's important for people to realize that you don't have to be in Arizona to love it. You can come from anywhere in the world. People are open. They can they'll host you, and it's a treat.
Yeah. It is.
And so it gives me an insight to what's going on in the rest of the world too, and how you see it, because you're seeing it through eyes that I don't see it through. You're a different country, a different language, a different set of how you grew up. I grew up and I knew what Indian culture is all about, because I had Indian friends. But when you don't, how do you switch over? And people can. So let's go shop. What do you say?
Okay.
We'll go look at more Indian art.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for joining us at the Art Dealer Diaries today. It was great having you, and thank you for doing it. I know you drove in and weren't prepared, and I'm like, come on. And you look great. And look at the wonderful jewelry. Look at that Bisbee stone, unless that looks like probably a Bisbee stone.
That's Apache blue. It's
it is
made
Apache
by
blue.
Chippy.
Look at that, yeah.
And he always hates to do things like this because it takes him a lot of time to file it down.
Oh yeah, no, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
I think did they tell you in America it's an old thing is that you put it on as a gift?
Yeah, I know.
Thank you, and it fits beautifully. Thank you so much.
I trade it in. I look around here and we trade it.
In Germany, I'll find something for you when I come. Thank you so much. Thank you. All right, thanks again. It was wonderful. The Art Dealer Diaries are brought to you by Medicine Man Gallery, located for over 26 years in Tucson, Arizona, specializing in antique Native American art, early Western art, including the famed Maynard Dixon, as well as modern art. You can find everything online at medicinemangallery.com. There's over 6,000 objects to select from. Also, the Charles Bloom Murder Mystery Series, written by yours truly, me, Mark Sublette. There's 6 books in the series, and they follow the protagonist Charles Bloom through all the intrigue of the art world set in Santa Fe and the Navajo Nation. These can be found on Audible, eBooks, Amazon, and of course, the gallery at medicinemangallery.com.